it doesn't need to take over your whole life. You're still so many other things. You're not just a person trying to have a baby. Hi, my name is Hayley Buckley. I am an interior designer, a wife, and a mum to 2 fur babies. Grew up on the Mornington Peninsula and moved to Melbourne for uni when I was 21 and stayed there until we moved to Byron Bay 2 years ago.
You know, has there been a difficult time in your life or a challenging time?
Yes, there's been many, but more recently we've been struggling with fertility. We've been trying to start a family for nearly 7 years now, so it's been 7 years of heartbreak and procedures and medications and surgeries and grief. So we pretty much started trying on your wedding night, as you do, and you obviously just think it's going to happen straight away, and you've already pictured this life together with a family. And then, you know, we're at the stage now where we're having to redefine what our lives may look like, because I think the only way to really cope with the grief and the pain and the hurt is to start to become okay with the worst case scenario, like anything in life. Yeah, we haven't given up by any means, but we're just trying to consider the idea that, you know, maybe our life will look different to what we thought. Individually, we're both really fertile. I mean, I'm in my 40s now, but my egg count is still that of a 30-year-old. And then same with Hames, extremely fertile. But you put us two together and for whatever reason, genetically or biologically there's something going wrong at a certain stage. I don't even know how many rounds of IVF I've done anymore. I know it's a lot. We're about to move on to our 6th IVF doctor. But yeah, for me, I just don't know how much more I can put my body through. I've done so many procedures and surgeries and medications that wreak havoc on your mind and your body, and just relentless grief. Yeah, we do all the right things to sort of stay connected, and we always, you know, I'm really proud of us because I know a lot of couples probably wouldn't have made it through what we've been through, but we continue to grow and choose each other, and so I'm proud of us. But for any couple going through this, I really see you. I know how hard it is. You know, ultimately, you're allowed to give up, and I don't think that it necessarily has to feel right. I think society tells us we have to start a family. For us, it doesn't feel right to give up, and I've really gone there and I've tried to be really open to the idea of giving up. And you know, I have periods where I think that I will, but I just don't think that we're meant to give up, and I really believe that one way or another we will end up having a child. We had a pregnancy around 6 months into trying, which resulted in a miscarriage. I think I was further than we've got since then. I mean, I sort of only get to 5-6 weeks every time now. So that was difficult, but also I felt a bit of relief because I was like, at least I know I can fall pregnant. 6 months later, we still hadn't fallen pregnant, so we went and saw a fertility specialist. She found like a dermoid, like a growth on my ovaries, which could have caused a miscarriage, and she didn't want to continue causing complications. So she recommended a laparoscopy. Meant to be very, you know, an easy, you know, just go in for a few hours, wake up, go home. But unfortunately for me, there was complications. I woke up in excruciating pain. Like, everyone's in the recovery room just sipping a cup of tea and I am screaming. So just give him more pain meds, like nothing's gone wrong, but I kept saying something's wrong. Yeah. And by the next day, I was just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I couldn't even stand up. Hamish, my husband, came in and he's just like, something's not right. Like, you know, he just knew. And I said to him, I feel like I'm dying. It turns out I was dying. They did a blood test, and then I heard the nurse say, oh, we need an ambulance, we need a patient transported to ICU, and they must have said, oh, we'll be there in an hour, and she's like, we don't have an hour, you have to come now. Anyway, they got me to ICU, and it turns out I was in renal failure. We never really found out what happened, but they suspect that the surgeon accidentally nicked my bladder. I don't respond well to the IVF medication. We've even gone into cycles where they've just gone in and taken my eggs out without really any medication, because it actually doesn't make that much of a difference to me. Just keep having the same issue where we either only get a few eggs and then we'll get healthy embryos, but they're just not working. You know, the phone calls when the clinic calls you, they're just always heartbreaking. You know, I don't know how many people are at these clinics, but there would be so many girls all waiting for that phone call. and it's the worst. You know, it's either the best phone call that you're ever going to get or the worst, and there's no in between. I wouldn't say that I'd learnt anything new about myself. I've always been a really strong person. I've always been a really positive person. It's broken me on so many occasions, don't get me wrong, but I always find a way to pull myself out of it and stay strong. You know, I remember like Hamish and I just were so convinced one time that it had worked, and I was having a lot of symptoms. I've had a lot of, but it turns out it does work for us. It's just like an early loss. So we'd like set up a camera and we were filming it because we were going to send it to our families. And it was just the most heartbreaking thing because we were all like, yeah, just ready for good news, and it just didn't come through. And we were just so surprised. Yeah. And anyone on this journey would have learned that by now. There's actually not really many things that you can hear that are actually going to make you feel better. You just need people to like physically be there in your darkest hour and show up for you, but there's nothing really that's going to make you feel better. I mean, there's been many periods of time where I haven't coped, you know, like I've shut down completely, and I'm coping now, and you know, I've got more resilient along the way. Because of that brokenness and that loneliness, I was kind of forced to heal parts of myself and really learn to accept myself and love myself, and I guess I found a wholeness through that brokenness, and as a result of that journey I'm much more kind, fierce, unconditional, and because I was also, you know, I haven't really learned to truly accept and love myself, but when you go through something that breaks you and you experience such a deep feeling of like loneliness and you're at your lowest point, it's like the only way up is in. And you know, and I really have healed so many parts of myself because of this journey, and knowing that if I don't get a child, I've at least achieved so many things and it's not for nothing is a huge coping mechanism, I guess. Anyone that knows me, like one of my passions is I love being a good friend. You know, I really love my friends, and I went through a stage where I stopped going to baby showers. I wouldn't go to first birthdays. I wasn't showing up for my friends. And that was going against, you know, the human and the person that I am. So after a while of doing that, I realised it was making me so much more miserable because I wasn't being true to myself. So I stopped doing that. I'm the first to turn up to birthdays with gifts and baby showers, and your worth is not measured by your ability to conceive. Like, you're still a whole happy human, and it doesn't need to consume your whole world. Don't expect the people around you to say the right things, and just know that the people around you are going to show up in the way that they know how, and that's coming from love. I mean, that's, yeah, as long as they're physically there, I think that's all they can do. It doesn't need to take over your whole life. You're still so many other things. You're not just a person trying to have a baby. And it's not infertility, it's not a failure. It's a deep personal struggle. It's not, and you're not measured by, your worth is not measured by that experience. I don't know, I always thought it would be so easy for me. And so, yeah, even when Hames and I got married, I just didn't think that this was going to be, I did not think that this was going to be my journey. I am trying treatment in the States. We're just starting the process, just seeing a doctor there. But yeah, for us, it's we are trying to, you know, potentially redefine what our lives could look like. We always pictured we'd have children. We've named them. I just can't believe that they're not here. But, you know, it's like with anything, just becoming okay with the worst case scenario is the only way out of the pain. So that's what we're trying to do. It's hard because normally a doctor would say to you it's time to move on to, but they're not going to say that to us because I'm still very fertile in this world. So it would have to be a decision that we would make. I don't think we're there yet, and I'm not opposed to the idea. I mean, I honestly believe that however my child gets here, it's still going to be the same soul. I don't know why I'm going through this, but I know it's for a reason, and I know one day I will do something with it. I don't know what, but I don't know what that is yet, but I really, really know that.